Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are joining forces with Mr. Portilla. We are joining him in the Dodge Viper. Not the same car as he used previously. He used the GR3 car. We're going to use the road version from 13 or 15, I believe it is. We are grinding at Sardegna. The idea is to take a car up against that field of GR3 cars and see if you can win from last place on the grid. It's a 15-lap race. Ultimately a 2 or 3 stop race. We've done it with a 1-stopper and a no-stopper. We're going to see where this SRT Dodge Viper is going to take us. Let's have a look at the setup. So it's punching just underneath the recommended weight of 800 pp at 799.90. It rocks over 1,000 brake horsepower. It's the highest powered road car we've took to the race. We're running racing softs. Customizable suspension is as default. It's fully customizable. The differential gear is fully customizable and we've changed it to 555. That's a really decent adjustment to make if you're looking for a really drivable road car. Might not be the fastest, but it takes the drivability to unknown levels for me. Downforce set to 176 and 360 basically to tune. Fully customizable ECU, you've got everything 100. The power restrictor is not restricted. Transmission fully customizable, racing set to 360. Now that potentially is a little bit long, but this is my drag racing setup, and that gearbox really does give a little bit of wheel spin in the lower gears, but you'll find you'll wrap through those first and seconds into third. So I don't fancy shortening it because it'll give us more wheel spin, but it's got decent acceleration, and when you get into the upper gears, it's good for fuel economy, which we're going to need. We've got a fully racing intercooler, supercharger at high end, air cleaner, silencer and exhaust manifold all at racing, racing slotted disc, racing pads, brake controller set all the way to the front to take the pressure off the rears, racing clutch, carbon prop shaft, and then we have everything installed that's available: engine balance tuning, polish ports, titanium conrods, racing crankshafts, all 4 of your weight savings and your body rigidity. Let's get to the track. So it's the 15-lap race in the World Touring Car 800. We're attempting to tip the scales on 12 million credits today. We've been doing this for just less than a week. And to generate 12 million credits, okay, you can do that in a day, but we're doing this one race at a time. Settings for the race will be on assists, traction control 1, default ABS. We're going to use the ASM and counter steer on strong. We're grinding. We want it to be as easy as possible. We don't want to be spinning it, chucking it off. We want a comfortable, easy win. Controller settings: controller steering sensitivity 5, force feedback max torque 5, force feedback sensitivity 6. We are using a G29 with custom G25 pedals. They are removed from its casing, inverted and mounted upside down. Custom spacing, custom height, so I can press all the pedals I need to in a convenient point. Built and set up for me. Right, are we ready to see how this one performs? It's another slice of American muscle. Let's see where it goes. Here we go then, folks. Fuel map down to 6. Manage where we're going. Got to get that fuel right. So it's got big power, over 1,000 brake horsepower. It's got everything racing on it, so stopping wise it should be capable of stopping. Brakes should be good. The only thing negative is we've really had to tune out the front downforce to meet the PP target, so just got to be aware of that, and fuel's going to be tight, so this will be a fuel saving race all the way through it. I think gonna have to see where we can be on fastest laps. Fastest laps around the 135 would be nice. It won't make this the fastest car, but it'll certainly make it a contender. We'll just have to see how the AI drive in the latter part of the race. Brake before the 150, that's mandatory with all of these cars. We had to let the 458 come back up at the inside. Mr. Bishop might give us a tap just here. It didn't. Get around the grassy knoll without losing the back end or hitting the wall. That'll do us nicely. On the brakes before the 100. Mr. Cookerman just sliding the car. So fuel just ticked down to 4.0, so it's going to be tight on fuel. Up to 5th, it's back to 4.0, so it'll get us to the pit lane entry as we come rattling down the outside. Dash back up the middle, brake before the 150 round the outside. The R8 and the BMW, we're going to see if we can make light work of those two. We're getting pushed. We've done them both. As we make our way up to Mr. Hizal in 7th place. Now my first impressions after a lap are this is a really smooth directional car. You can point it wherever you like and it'll go there. A little bit of slide on the output of the corner there. I think it's going to need you to wait for it to be straight before you can power down. Lots of power through the back wheels. Mr. Yamanaka, is he going to move wide? Yes he is. Brake before the 150. And we get a tap from Mr. Yamanaka. He's not impressed at our manoeuvre. He tried to dispatch us left right. It wasn't very friendly. Fastest lap of the race is ours at a 1:40.948. I'm hoping to drop this here to a 37 something. That'd be nice. Mr. Mendoza, sponsored by Bilstein when you get up really close. So a lot of these cars are in the top flight of the endurance races. Final corner. Fuel on the 3.0, that's where we want it. That's perfect for getting fuel economy to the end. There's a 37.4, some 3.3 seconds faster than the outlap. Up behind Mr. Fraga, he's probably had the same message from his pit wall as Mr. Yamanaka did. Let's see if he lets us go past quite as easy. No discomfort from Mr. Fraga, although he is pushing hard round the outside. He's not going to let us go, is he? He gives us a slam back. He's got his racing shoes on. Well done, sir. Purple by 1/4 of a second. To take 3rd place, just squeeze through. Chase up to the back of Beauvoir, who's not having his usual battle with Beauvoir. Sorry, with Fraga. That was a very interesting line, a bit of a panicky one. 2.2 left on the fuel. That's us into 2nd place. Mr. Portilla just 8.3 seconds ahead, our teammate. See if we can get any closer to him to have a look at our competitor's car. See if we can get a screenshot of us together. All of a sudden Dr. Hook comes to mind. Answers below if you understand the reference. It's a musical one. See if this goes purple. There he is. Purple by 0.6. Could we drop this time into the 36s on the out stint, on stint number 1? Fuel looks a little bit low, we're going to have to short shift though. Seconds ahead of Fraga, who's now overtaken Beauvoir. There she is. I say she, I was referring to the car of Mr. Portilla's, the Viper. He's absolutely cleared that end of that straight, hasn't he? There he goes. Fuel's looking good. Are we going to see him before? No, there he is diving into the pit lane. what it'd be like. There's the 36.5. I wonder what it would be like if we attempted to match him for his strategy. Would we be able to win the race with a 4-4-4 lap strategy? I don't know. So we're on the last one now for this stint. We're just going to have to make sure we fuel save accordingly. There's no point trying to set a fastest lap. Let's see if we can just roll it round. We've purpled the first sector without really trying. .7 seconds ahead of Fraga, which isn't a massive gap at this point. We anticipate we would be about 8 seconds, I think, when we get into the pits. We've got a pretty decent benchmark as we cross the grassy knoll. .2 left in the fuel tank. See if we've got enough to get us home. It's dropped to 0.1. We're good. We're just going to power it in here. There we go. It dropped to 0-0. We'll take the softs because they're about half done. They won't make another stint. 7.2 seconds. Fraga's come in. 8.9. So we're about where I thought we'd be. Boubois also coming on hards. Ordinaires, Grady, all in. We're now taking the fuel. Boubois was on 0, pretty similar to us. Mendoza's gone through. Yamanaka's gone through. See if we could give Mr. Yamanaka a little bit of a hello. Mr. Hizal's coming through, charging down. Mr. Portilla's on his way, our teammate. We won't get to overtake Mr. Portilla on the track today by the looks of it. We'll have to see where we go. Our pit stop strategy allows us to leapfrog the leaders of the race. Got a fuel save as well at this point. Third gear now we've decided on for this corner. Try and change gear just before the vertical line after the mile/hour indicator. Maybe a bit earlier on the slope up, brake on the 150 before. There's Yamanaka. This was the scene of the tap. Itchy nose. Around the grassy knoll, giving plenty of berth. So Mendoza again. My assumption is he is going to the pits this time. We won't be overtaking him a second time. There he goes, he breaks off. We charge on. The fuel laps remaining at 4.0, 3.9 as we go across the line. That's spot on for where we need to be. We are going to be nicely tapping into the fuel to go all the way. We overshot there. That's because we were just overshooting that 150 mark. You've got to brake before it. And because we're short shifting, we will have varied speed coming into that final corner. So you've just got to trust your senses. Half a second down, this car gets much quicker with the reducing fuel weight. It has decent tyres, so it's going to be able to carry it. 7.2 seconds over Mr. Portilla. Our teammate, he will be stopping somewhere around lap 8 if he maintains his normal process. It's a gorgeous sounding car, isn't it, the Viper? It really does position itself well on the road. Front end can occasionally wash out. Rear end likes to step out, but when you've got all that power, 1,000 horsepower through the back wheels. Although we've toned it down a bit by running fuel map 6, it does like to spin. But it's got plenty of grip. 3.0 on the fuel gauge as we come through the line. 2.9, a 37 flat. See if we can put in a decent lap time this lap. Just lift as you attempt to turn into the corner to bring the nose in nicely. I don't know if I mentioned it, but for the setup of the car, it needs all the best possible splitter on the front, side skirts, valance on the rear, aero on the rear, and the rear wing is a high level custom with 20 end plates, which is my signature. It's got to have a wang. If it's not going to have a wang, it's no good. Probably scrubbed off that half-second purple there purely because I was threading the needle into the grassy knoll corner. I'm not backing off on this one. We're going to go for the fastest lap. We're going to see where it's at. Power through the line. There's a 1:35.7. That's where we said it intended to be. And it is possible. Attempt to now conserve the fuel. 16 seconds out of Portilla as he goes to the pits. Just had to lift on the throttle there. Trying to push it through. I wasn't actually saving fuel at that point. 25.9 seconds ahead of Fraga. We're still purple. .2 on the fuel. We're going to do all the saving in the last lap. We can disguise the fact we were saving on lap 10 because it'll hide it with a red surround. Fastest lap again, 7.48, minute difference. I think there's probably a 34 in this, you know. If we're really to push. And that looks like the first car to be lapped is just trundling around ahead of us. And that would normally be somebody like, oh, the Porsche driver in Ostroza, but that actually looks like the Ford GT. It is. Mr. Hizal goes to the pit on end of lap 9. So this car doesn't hide away, it's not underneath the shell at all, it's absolutely blowing the competition away. We're not usually catching up with a lap car until the end of lap 10, and then we dive in the pits like we're going to today, but fuel is short. We are not particularly doing well on fuel at this point in time. Mr. Wilk has a break just to set us about our wits. Clearly lapped the car early. Then the unfortunate thing is we come up against some more American muscle in 19th place. 0.1 on the fuel, we're doing alright. We're diving into the pits now on 0 fuel. Take the softs and all the gas. We're 30.5 seconds ahead. The reality is we're going to come out of the pits ahead of everybody else. Absolutely stunning red paint. It's default. Bought the car in that state. Whack a racing livery on it. Something iconic would be tremendous. And there we go. A new pair of boots. Full tank of fuel. We actually braked really efficiently there from the 100 flag, and then we ran it in the gravel. Can't get away any race without doing something, can I? Fraga's in the pits. It is one of those things though, this is what grinding is about. Grinding is about being able to have a car that's flexible, adaptable, it wins the race, and it also is a little bit forgiving, because you won't always be 100% concentrated, you won't always be at one with your beast. Let's see if we can get this to the end. Nice little bit of fuel saving to give us that one lap of absolute power. We do have cars ahead of us that will require overtaking, but kind of hoping and thinking that they will jump out the way when it's time. The blue flags will do their job to allow us to try and put in a 134 maybe. Maybe the next lap round. .6 seconds in the lead. Just thinking about the next car to use. I do have 5 or 6 that I've tried and tested, and maybe would be good competitors. I'm trying to find one that will do a 3-stop and win. There are a couple that are quick enough that just don't have the fuel consumption for a 2-stop. So I wonder, is there an opportunity for a 3-stop win? Something iconic, something with a legend status maybe, that sort of fits the framework, that but isn't overly powered or out of the process. I've got another car to set up yet that I know is in the frame for an American muscle section. Hyper quick. There's a 136 without even trying. The fuel is on the money. Nearly overshot there. Blew the lap though, didn't it? So I mean lap 14 is going to be the one to attempt a 35, a 34 on. So Minister Inostroza has now dropped into his normal place in the rear. Mr. Portilla goes to the pits for his final stop. Mr. Fraga looks like he's got second place nailed on. catching up with Mr. Wilk again to lap him for the second time. We're not putting him 2 laps down. He actually managed to unlap himself when we pitted, but very difficult when you meet traffic there. Going to be a 1:37 that time, lap 14, fuel is bang on. Car didn't feel like it wanted to turn out the corner then. Making our way through lap traffic now quite easy. Mr. Hizal, who was up in 5th, 6th place, now finds himself well down the stream. As we went purple on sector 1. Those changes to the rear diff really do ease off on the back axle. Purple by half a second. Really is a different line through there in this car that likes to slide at the front end. If you miss the braking point, the front end really does. Let's see where this is in relation to a 34. I think it might be a 35.3 or a 35.4 maybe. If not, we'll have to give it some on the final lap. We've got all the fuel left. No, it's the 35.7. It's fastest lap of the race again, but it's not enough. Then the front end washed out into the first corner. So that's going to be it for fastest laps. Let's just drive it to the end. See if we can lap a couple more. While it did seem promising, it thought it was going to cut through the traffic a lot more than it has. The race has panned out differently, but definitely 15th and 14 are definitely on the cards for lapping against. In the fuel tank, we should be able to drive this all the way to the line. Fraga takes the pits. Oh, he's having to pit again at the end of lap 14. That could give this to Mr. Grady. We went in very deep there, tapped Mr. Lopez. A little bit of a drift at the rear end, not good. We'll try and brake before the grassing hole this time. There we go. Gave us the entrance we wanted. Mr. Fraga is actually back out, and we're over a minute ahead. This hasn't been that bad a car. It's a minute in the lead. There aren't many cars that get a minute ahead. We've run out of fuel. We'll have to coast all the way to the line, and there she is. It did it. It might have been by the skin of its teeth, but it was there. Absolutely stunning car, sounding car. What do you think, folks? Is that one that you're going to get in your arsenal? Have you already got that car? 25 minutes 30, almost. And it lapped up to position 9, so it isn't that bad a motor. It really handles really well. That's a pleasure to drive, and that'll get you around the laps. Clean race bonus. There she is. Where does that put us? Anywhere near the 12 million? Almost. A little bit of maths. 11.8. Happy days. And another 5-star roulette ticket. Looking good at us. Thank you very much. And with that, folks, we'll see you on the next one. All the best. Take care.